2025 at 9 a.m. in the courthouse. The Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You are requested to approach the podium, use the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chair to read the item. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and/or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate and a roll call vote will follow. Roll call, please.
Hibbs,
Yes?
Kyle,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes. Moving on to item number 5, 5-year service awards and 10-year service awards. So I think because we have some other things going on in the county attorney's office this week, we'll postpone the 5-year service award and move on to the 10-year service award. One of them is here today. Blaze Were, our Marshall County assessor, is being recognized for 10 years of service to the county. Would you come forward, Blaze? Anything you want to say on your 10 years?
It's flown by.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for all you do.
You wanna go out here to-
Yeah. Not an easy job. Yeah.
Yeah, you're always the most popular guy in the town.
Well, when he
Well, 4 years of assessor and about 6 for auditor recorder.
Thank you, Blaze.
Thank you.
Thanks, Blaze, for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Blaze. You always make people happy when you assess their homes lower.
Yeah.
It's part of the job, it's part of the code of Iowa, and we appreciate what you do.
Appreciate it, guys.
I don't think, yeah, Jesse, we did
Yeah, do you
not.
want to say something about, so we have Jesse.
Yeah, I think we're going to
Also-
hold off on that one too,
Okay.
because I think she got, we did not communicate with the folks either. We did email with Blaze, but Jesse, we're short-staffed too,
All
so
right.
she's not responding, so.
Well, we will recognize
Her
her
at the-
when she's available.
Yeah, we'll do the next meeting with both of them, so
Okay.
hopefully they're both available.
That sounds great. She does great work.
Yeah, so it was kind of fun with both, when Blaze and Jesse were both in our office. We actually have 3 or 4 people in our office that all started the same day. Different years, but both Jesse and Blaze started on the same day in the office. So,
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank Jessie in advance too, and we'll recognize her when she's able to be here.
yes, and we know elections is fun too, so,
All right, moving on to item number 6, the consent agenda, which includes the previous regular session minutes from March 26th, the claims as audited, new hires in conservation, Braden French, seasonal conservation aid, temporary part-time from $13 per hour effective May 5th, 2025. Caleb Grant, seasonal aid, temporary part-time from $13 per hour effective May 26th, 2025. Paige Martin, seasonal conservation aid, temporary part-time from $13 per hour effective May 19th, 2025, and Abigail Kemp, seasonal conservation aid, temporary part-time from $13 per hour effective May 26, 2025. We also have a change in status New hires from the Sheriff's Office, Stacy Freiberg, I think is how you say that, medical RN full-time, from $34.72 per hour to $37.72 per hour, effective May 3rd, 2025. Guadalupe Bedoya, jailer, full-time, $23.42 per hour, effective on or after April 28, 2025. And Marisol Lopez Silva, jailer, full-time, $23.42 per hour, effective on or after April 28, 2025. Do you have something you can add about that?
Sure. Sheriff Joel Phillips, Marshall County. For our nursing increase for our RN, it's been difficult to fill that second position. We've checked the market and we're considerably lower when it comes down to our registered nurse, especially correctional nursing. We've had that position open for 4 months now. We've had several applicants. We do have a couple that are still interested. The issue is they're going to be taking about a $15,000 to $20,000 pay cut, what they're currently at. We did some comparables with wages. Registered nurses completing medical school are being hired at $40 an hour, which is obviously higher than what we offer. So then with Stacy, she's basically a managerial position for the nursing, and so she's considerably lower. This increase, this request is within the budget. There'd be no increase in the budget for that personnel. So we're hoping to raise the wages for the starting to get up around that between 36 and 39 to be more comparable to the market. It hasn't gone down. We've seen earlier this year about what the contracted nursing would be if we can avoid that as all possible. So we got some good interest. It's just the compensation's just a little low, so we're trying to get that up there. For Guadalupe and Marisol, these are two Citizen Academy that went through our Sheriff's Academy. And Marisol, I believe, also went through our internship. So they're going to be great additions to the Sheriff's Office. We are currently still hiring jailers. We do have a couple that are resigning. One's changing occupations, and one's going to Department of Corrections. So it's a continuing revolving door. It seems like we're trying to get that stabilized, but it's a hard job to fill, but we're
Yeah.
continuing to move forward with those positions. So. Any
Okay.
questions?
Any questions for Joel? No.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for the information and clarification. We'll go back and recognize now Jessie. So, do we have her?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for coming down.
Yeah, I figured you had a
I was
customer.
thinking it was next week. I thought this
Here,
was
I'll
special.
come out to you.
Yeah.
10 years. So what is the official date?
April 6th.
April 6th.
For both of them.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I guess I can do that, huh?
We appreciate all the work you do.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love having you.
Okay. Back to work, Jess.
Back to work.
Okay, moving on. Item 60, change in we did that. 60, file manure management plans, West Venture Farms, 10003, 24508, 330th Street, New Providence, signed with no changes. That is the end of the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve today's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion on any of the items? Roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Goodman?
Yes?
Hibbs?
Yes. Item number 8. Approve application for funding. Iowa Department of Transportation Revitalize Iowa's Sound Economy RISE program. And this is an application for Marshall County for paving improvements to Benford Avenue and 245th Street and a turn lane on US Highway 30 to assist with the development and expansion of Marshall Ridge Farms, and authorize the chair to sign.
Yes.
Any chance we can do the map if we wanna look at the aerial of it? This grant was prepared by our consultant Snyder Associates. We thought with this being my first time through RISE, it was good to have a little help from experienced professionals.
Was this done in conjunction with Boone County then?
No, it's a separate RISE grant application. The Daisy plant, it's moving forward is gonna help our application for sure, because this
Okay.
is right in step with it. I was just reading that the Daisy plant at full build out is gonna need, milk from 40,000 head of dairy cattle.
Yeah.
So that's, we're talking about they're gonna get Marshall Ridge up to 15,000, but that's still not even what they need to get, so
Yeah, we're not,
it's a big deal. The biggest part of our support for our RISE Immediate Opportunity Grant is that this expansion at Marshall Ridge Farms will increase their full-time employments by 55 people. And then they are also estimating that another 20 people will be added to Johnson Livestock, who does a lot of the hauling. So, another 75 jobs. And on top of that, it is estimated that Marshall Ridge Farms will invest $41 million in their property. So there's going to be it's a
substantial.
Yeah.
Investment here.
And so what we're applying for with this RISE grant is help with funding the paving of Binford Avenue from Highway 30, which is right in the north middle of that picture there, down to 245th Street. And we would take 245th Street to the east to Brown Avenue, not quite to the curve there. It'd be Brown Avenue is where there's a dirt road. That right there is our target, because that area right to the green area right there in the bottom half, that's where the new build out is going to happen for Marshall Ridge.
So will you pave Brown?
No,
Okay,
there's not going. The entrance to
That's
the new
only-
facility will
yeah.
be west of there.
okay.
I'm sure at some point we would, look at considering the improvement of Canfield.
Yeah,
I'm currently programming this in 27 construction, which what I'm thinking we're gonna have to do is with our local forces. If you look at the 245th Street and Canfield Avenue curve, that curve is miserable for haulers to get around, and we will use local forces and regrade that curve to make it a less degree of curvature, so it's easier for semis to get around. It's really touch and go when it gets wet out there, and when we have snow events.
so, what happens on Canfield? Do they,
Well-
is that like is that where they come in, go
well,
out? What do they do?
use them. They use both of them right now.
Okay.
There is if you look at Highway 30, there's a short left turn lane at Canfield as well, I think. But neither has a right turn lane. But they do use Canfield as well. My thought is I program the Binford and 245th Street improvement for 27, and sometime during summer of 26, we get in there and improve that curve at Canfield and 245th, because there'll be times when they have to use the Canfield when we've got construction. So if they have to go that way, I want to get that curve improved. The other part of this grant is we're also going to apply for C-STEP funding, which is the County State Transportation Engineering Program. And that will be actually work that happens on Highway 30 at Binford. So I don't know if you can zoom into Binford and 30. We are proposing to put an offset right turn on the eastbound traffic. So if you want to know what that looks like, at Hart Avenue right now, the DOT put in the offset right turn going to Hart, like going toward Melbourne. And we would propose that for this intersection, and then also a left turn acceleration lane that would be on westbound Highway 30 to give the haulers a spot to get up to speed a little bit before they merge into westbound 30. And so that C-STEP application would be, I think $200,000 is the maximum that they'll do, and they're estimating that this is going to be in the neighborhood of 580,000. And this will be, my first time ever doing any type of a project on primary, because I'm just a county guy, So it's my first time dealing with C-STEP, but we'll make that application, and I've read that it averaged around 90 days to find out if we get funded for C-STEP. But I
Do you know anything about who will be doing the trucking? Does Daisy own the trucks, or, is that another company, or is that a division
Well,
of
I
Daisy?
think with this proposal anyway, they're talking about it being Johnson
Johnson.
Livestock that does the hauling.
That does all the hauling of the milk?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
That's a lot of trucks.
I'm not sure
That's what the 20 of the increased positions.
Yeah.
So I don't know otherwise. I do know that in Texas, Daisy utilizes a 100,000-pound hauler, and that's something that isn't permitted on Iowa roads yet. So they're trying to get a special permit to do that. When we do the pavement design for Benford and 245th, we're going to take that into consideration, that there may be a heavier hauler that's using the route. I don't think they currently have it approved, but there's kind of the picture of what we're looking at for the offset right and the left turn acceleration lane. That's what we would be applying to the DOT for the C-STEP funding for. Do you have any other questions on this? I could probably talk about it for 2 or 3 hours, but
Yeah.
we will get approval.
It's my understanding RISE hasn't really been used a lot for transportation, but it's being considered because of the jobs that are being provided.
That's for the immediate opportunity grant, which is the path we're going. They have an annual RISE grant submittal, but for
Yeah.
immediate opportunity, the funding level is all based on added jobs.
Yeah.
And that's what puts the cap on what you're applying for. We are applying for over $1 million in RISE money.
Okay.
The C-STEP of 200,000, and to get this done, it will still take $783,000 of farm to market money. And we do have that available to us to be used in the next couple of years. So we're good with farm to market right now. It's basically a separate checkbook that we have at the DOT that they, we pay things out of farm to market on resurfacing projects and such, so. But we're good there. If we can get approved, we can.
What's the timeline?
I've got that on the application here.
Look through- That's what
The
I,
time schedule looks like design 2025-26, construction 27.
no, I mean timeline for grant approval.
I am not sure on RISE, on immediate opportunity. I can ask our consultant, but we'll get this, if we get it approved, we'll get it turned in right away. And I'm not sure what RISE is. They've got a balance of, they grant money, but then it doesn't get utilized for a while, so that kind of rides and it's sort of its own little checkbook. But historically, they've had a balance every year. Now, I've also heard that there are a couple of big fish coming for RISE that'll be competing with us for the same money. But
Okay.
And on the page where we sign, it just says Marshall County Governing Authority, and that's where I would say we would have the chair sign.
Okay.
And then the attest would be Nan, correct?
Okay. It's a good project.
It's gonna be a good sized project and a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Well, good application.
If I said I wasn't nervous, I'd be lying.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments for Paul?
It is programmed in fiscal 27, so it'll be, I like to know we got the money before we,
Go out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at Marshall Ridge, when do they start?
That was on there too. Was that 26, 27? Was the expansion, 26 and 27?
Okay. Yeah, I just went by that page,
On that
so,
construction
yeah.
schedule, it was,
26, 27. I mean, I wonder, there's probably coordination there too.
Yeah.
With getting equipment in and out while they're doing construction.
yeah,
And with the added construction equipment.
Yeah.
and when we're
That's what I
making
was
the
thinking.
improvements at Canfield and 245th, there won't be anything going on Binford, so they'll still have full access to their property from the west.
Okay. Okay. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve application for funding, for the Iowa Department of Transportation, Revitalize Iowa Sound Economy Program.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes. Okay, item number 9. Okay. Award contract ID 64-C064-143 to Peterson Contractors Incorporated of Rhinebeck, Iowa, in the amount of $844,203.75. And this is for bridges, it looks like,
Yes,
over
this
Minerva
was-
Creek.
This is our, the bridge on 140th and right at Durham Avenue, so a little north of Clemens. It was let April 15th at the DOT. I think we had 5 bids, which is, pretty good. And and Peterson's bid is under our engineer's estimate, so that's also good.
Have they done work for you before?
They are probably the one we work with the most as far as bridge construction here.
That's what I thought, okay.
It has we did add a little flexibility to, that's why we got the 5 bids, is we added the late start date of April 6th of 26. So that essentially would give a bidding contractor the ability to do the project next construction season if they were, and that was because we were at a spot where the consultant told us there were several lettings where they were getting projects with no bids because a lot of the contractors were full. So just to give them a little more flexibility, we want to make sure we get a bid and get it obligated. So as soon as we get the contract signed, we'll be able to go back and forth with PCI and find out if we are indeed on this year's calendar, but we'll know after we get through the contract approval process.
Okay. Any other questions for Paul?
No?
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to award contract ID 64C064143 to Peterson Contractors Incorporated of Rhinebeck, Iowa, in the amount of $844,203.75 for project BROS C064143 8J64 Bridge and approaches CCS on 104th Street over Minerva Creek near Durham Avenue, and authorize the chair to sign the contract and bond when available.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes. Okay.
Great. And if anybody cares, CCS means continuous concrete slab. That's
Okay.
the type of bridge.
Okay. Public forum, and this is the time, just a second, this is the time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on the agenda. No action will be taken on these topics brought up in the public forum.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Joe Hayes. I've been a lifelong citizen, resident of Marshall County. Live out at 2406 Olive Branch Road. We've had some neighbors move in, And prior to that, it was a family, my uncle and dad had, and I assumed the house of my father, and my uncle passed away, and these people have bought it. And I don't know if we got a cultural thing of misunderstanding, but I'm really to the point of frustration of my investment and understanding the ag zoning with livestock is one item. And the other item I'll be talking about is residential on your zoning as far as responsibilities and who, law enforcement, and I don't know, I need clarity on how to move on my issues. So when I begin here, they've got check-ins, and I've got pictures I'll leave with you. They're destroying my flowers, my wife's flowers, our land. They're letting them range. And the way I say it, that's livestock, and they should be. What I looked up, and I want some clarity on it, is they should have them contained 150 feet off the residential property of mine in a fencing, which I've discussed it with them, and they just don't comprehend. There's no action been taken. And we're concerned with the disease, and they're going to the bathroom all over our deck, and it's became a nuisance with me. And I'm trying to contain myself, so I figured I better come up here first before I go any further. I called the law enforcement, and they pretty much told me the same thing on their dog. Their dog has been coming down. It runs. It was out in the middle of the highway one day. Had the traffic stopped on Highway 30. And people are trying to get these dogs off the road. There's going to be an accident, and I've got traps set. I'm going to try to trap the dog and try to get the message across. I haven't had any response to be able to have somebody with authority to just talk to them. Say, hey, you can't let the dogs run across the country like this. There's going to be problems. It has bitten my granddaughter. We checked, and they did have shots. So I didn't press the issue and file it. Well, it happens again. I realize now, after talking to the sheriff, I have to file it to get any action. So, but it is still a concern with anybody coming in. And the other thing is, they've got, about a year ago, I had talked to the county attorney about the junkyard. Now, I understand farmers, they have machinery out there. They utilize it, and it sits out there in the ag zone. But I'm wanting clarity on residential when they are not farmers. They live on 2.5 acres in the green zone, and they're not planting. They have chickens, and they have 30 or 40 automobiles with different people working on these automobiles that are all, and I don't know this for sure, but they change, and there's traffic up and down. They're not a listed business. They're doing auto work. Last Saturday, they had cars coming up and down that road, and I think they're cleaning. And on a commercial, as far as our tax and everything else, I don't know if their county can do anything on a business as being certified. And if not, where do I go to get that help? Do I go to the state, the IRS, or whatever to make sure that they're certified? Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's fair, and they're not, frustrated. So I want to find out about the junk on the cars, because it's devaluing property. And the changing of the oil and the garbage blowing across my land, I'm picking it up. Garbage, when I say garbage, they have no service for garbage pickup and they're burning the garbage. I had called over a year ago. They had a big hole dug in the back of the property. I mean, huge. And they were throwing their garbage in it. Well, I got that stopped through the DNR. They came out, told them not to do it anymore. They told them to get a receipt for the garbage they took out to the county landfill. They followed up, and they did not have the gal I talked to, and I got it recorded at home, but she said they didn't. I asked, did they give you a receipt? They said no. Well, how do you know it didn't get out in our ditches? You know, and they didn't fulfill their obligation of the state. They sent them letters saying, hey, show me receipts where you got rid of it. And they had washing machines, they had dryers, they had all kinds, and garbage. They did clear it out, and then she did another double check on it, and they had a big carcass laying in there. She stopped down and said that the carcass was in there, and she told them just to get rid of it. I thought, well, you know what? They're not getting rid of it. The hole is still there. They may have filled it in last week or something, but that's a concern to me. I have a well sitting right there, and they're having the garbage. You know, it's the junk up there that I'd like a clarification on businesses, and if they can have junk carts without license that's set up there over a year. It has nothing to do with ag. It has nothing to do with farming. Tires, a couple hundred tires laying out there in the field or up against the fence.
Did the DNR address the tires?
They didn't want to press the issue, so I got to go back to that. They did not physically get an account. She said, well, look, it could be this amount or this. I said, well, what's the purpose of the tires? And I asked my neighbor, I said, why do you have the tires? Oh, we use them, we may use them on a car, you know, whatever reason he give me. And I said, you know, they'll attract mosquitoes, rats. And I said, why'd you get 2 of these terriers? Oh, they hunt rats. And can I find the information in the county rules on all this that I've addressed? Is there a booklet, or can I buy you to print it out so I can study it and help me and you, or?
Well, first thing I think we need to get with Tyler to
Yeah.
look at all of our zoning. I know part of this probably is a law enforcement issue of livestock, chickens ending up on your
Sure,
property.
and the
What's the
junkyard.
appropriate way to handle that, and
You
probably
guys got to kind of look at your policies and maybe if we have to rezone or addendum to it or something.
Yep, and then
Because that's the first site you see, and you're probably familiar where I live. When you're coming in off the bypass, you can't imagine how many people I've ran into and said, what's going on out there? You know, that's face of Marshalltown as you're coming in. And I don't think, and it's not just in I've noticed across the county, it's happening more frequent than it did in the past. And just frustrated, and I'll probably be in touch with you more, but I don't believe I have anything else at this time. But if you could look at it.
Have you talked with Tyler Kelly, our zoning?
See, you went through I talked to,
Tavius.
and he talked to Jordan, and I got and I'll let you read it, and he said he'd get back. He said, don't call us, basically, we'll call you if we need anything. And we'll get back and we'll solve or talk about the problem. Well, it's been over a year, I haven't heard anything, and they had a lot of changeover and help and this and that, and the guy that was the supervisor that was before, an older, what was his name?
Steve Solosic.
He was real good to me. And he sat down and he showed me where the zoning on the ag is and do's and don'ts and ways you can change it for specific needs and what it takes. He was real good. And that's where I found that the livestock, and chicken is considered livestock and ag, and that's where the fencing rule. And he did come down, the neighbor came down the other day, because I'd mentioned it to him, about the dog. We have a little dog we just got in heat. And this dog is, you know what they do, they're, you know, let's just take care of your dog. I don't want your chickens, I don't want your dog. You come down and see us anytime, but I don't want to, you know, and he was going to put up a fence from our houses. I said, what's the fence for? Well, to keep the chickens. I said, what kind of fence? Chicken wire fence. I'm sitting there with a $200,000 to $300,000 property. Is there anything in the ordinance, that's another question, on residential in the ag, and you have several of them like that out in the county, of rules for fencing for residential on ag? If not, I think maybe that's something we ought to look at for the future to alleviate any problems. Because that's just common courtesy. So it's issues like that. Yeah, and I talked, like I said, I was talking to that gentleman. He was a lot of help. But then he left, and then they just there was just nobody to talk to at the time when he was going through the. So they kind of sent everything to Jordan. I'm sure he's swamped like everybody is. But that's why I want to bring attention, because it was getting pretty tense to me. I'd called the sheriff out there, the department, with my frustrations. And they couldn't, there was no law that they could, about the dog or anything else. They said just catch them, because I was through the point where if my grandchildren were there, I was gonna shoot it. I mean, it's out there eating a dead carcass that's set on the side of Highway 30 right there by Olive Branch Road for over this last year, last late fall and through the winter. Right there on the highway, these dogs are out there eating it in the cars. It's just, I don't know if they have shots. I've got a lot of grandchildren who are there, and they come down, and it just, but if you don't mind, I will leave these pictures, and I may talk to Kevin or.
Tyler, I would
He's at
visit
a
with
training today.
Tyler Kelly, yeah.
Afterwards, can we get a phone number for you?
Yeah.
For who?
For you?
Yeah,
Oh, no, for him, so we can give.
I'll give it to you right now if you want it. 641-485-5030, Joe Hayes.
5030? Okay, I'll send Tyler an email with your contact info.
Okay, and I'll leave these here, and you can see, I mean, these are just some that I snapshot, and I got stamped dates on, I mean, I can get them. I've got a whole pampas grass area for water control shed off of our hill. And these chickens, I mean, there'd be 20 or 30 of them out there, and you know what a chicken does when they're out there scratching? They've taken away about 3-4 feet all the way around the perimeter of that massive pampas grass. I don't care if they have chickens. I don't want chickens. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yep.
you're a beef farmer, you want chickens running all over your yard from your neighbor? No, you don't. So,
I have something from Sarah on that.
Oh, do you? Okay. Okay.
you
Yep.
want to take these?
Yep.
Take a look. Yes. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, and I
So
guess that's all
will
I've
you
got.
copy us on the
I
email you
will.
send to Tyler?
I will, and
Yeah.
when I send it to Tyler, I'll,
You need my email?
oh, yes.
I think it's on there. Is my email on that right there?
Yeah, we do have it
Oh,
here.
okay,
And I-
that'll be
we got-
great, I'll send some
Email me as
communication.
It's all my you should have my information.
Okay,
and
Yep.
That's perfect.
I
Joel,
appreciate-
do you have any comments on the situation?
Questions or?
Yeah.
Like Joe, you drive down Highway 30, you notice
Yeah.
the changes. So as far as animals, obviously you can't dispatch an animal if it's being aggressive and on your property. We'd like to have that neighborly communication, it sounds like you've already had. There's not a dog at large or animal at large in the county ordinance. Obviously, we're an agricultural county.
Yeah.
There's other implications that if that was ever addressed at some point, but chickens, obviously, fencing laws, that comes under the auditor's purview. So we're dealing with some of those right now.
Yeah, and it's just, you know,
Just got a call yesterday.
It involves the trustees.
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I just didn't have anyone to go to. I've called your office out of frustration a few
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Actually, your jailer once came, she stopped because the dogs were on the highway and told us to call you guys. That's gonna be that's a big
I
issue.
stopped for the dog too.
And I love animals. I just don't wanna see anyone get hurt, and I want people to respect, and I think, like I said, it's a cultural thing. They're,
Yeah.
they're,
Is
I
there a
think, from
language?
Venezuela.
Is there a language, oh, I was gonna say, is there a language
Yeah,
barrier
there's a
in
little bit.
communicating?
She's been going to school. She's been here 16 years, and he's been here a less amount of time. Which I'm not too favorable what he had told me, how he got here, but that's another story. But the traffic going up and down that hill all week and all night,
Yeah.
there's a
So you-
lot.
You're thinking they're operating a business
Oh, I know they
out of
are.
the, off
He
the
quit his
location?
job and started that, and
Yeah.
she hasn't no job. They sell chickens. They take all those chickens, they're raising them, they butcher them. And you know what it smells like when they boil it outside? They have no idea on the fire ban. And I go out in my pasture and I see burnt taco wrappers or whatever. And I'm thinking, well, if that pampas grass goes aflame, you know? It's just, yeah, I don't know where their income comes from. Only statements that they've told me. They're 38 years old or whatever, and has paid everything cash. So, I wasn't born yesterday, so.
And I think that would be a good connection.
Yeah,
to help
that-
with the zoning ordinance and recyclers when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to motor vehicle businesses.
Now, I can trap the dogs, can I? Set a live trap?
If they're on your property.
Yeah.
So, and again, we want to make sure.
I don't want to get to that. I just want somebody, if they could, you know, the dog isn't so much problem. I can run him off. We can deal a little bit with that, but the biting I can't, and have him out in the highway. I told him, I said, look up one of these. I showed him on the halo collar. There's ways and means you can do it. But I'm not gonna stand for any chicken wire between my property. If there's chicken wire, it's gonna get, you know, it just won't stand up in the weeds and I told him it's not gonna keep a dog in, they go around the other end. I said, you're gonna have to fence the whole area, or a area. And those are some of the things that maybe in the future or now we can discuss on your county addendums for your rules of residential and the ag when you're in an approximate distance. Not a mile away, of course, but, you know, just a little insight there and.
And I think with the dog issue, we need to make sure those are reported, make sure there's documentation when it comes down to vicious animals, where we can address that. And
Well, that's where I never did it when they bit. Now I know that I gotta do it and document it, then we can act better on it.
And all dog bites are mandatory reporting, so that's how come we have to document that for the rabies, so I'm assuming they do have the rabies not being.
Well, Ravy, in the county, I know, how do people get rid of their garbage in the county? Either by a garbage service or take it to the landfill. How do you know that that's being done? Is there anything that says, that requires me to prove to you each year that I'm doing it? I don't know what that would look like or how you could do it, but that might be something that be of interest for the county to help clean up the county and help more income go to their county, because I know he's not taking, he said, oh, I take it to the dump. Show receipts then at the end of the year when you pay your county taxes. Here's my receipts.
We don't have any affiliation with the
Landfill.
landfill. It's called Marshall County Landfill. but
Well, who
it's-
does?
They're their own entity.
They're their own entity.
So who, does the county have any rules or regulations on garbage in the county?
I mean, a lot of that's through DNR, is how it works.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're not over here to, I mean, I would recommend the county take a little step toward the DNR for some enforcement or try to, with some ideas how to curb it so that you know, you're seeing a lot of garbage in the ditches. I go out here to the county landfill, I see bed mattresses on Highway 30, I see, you know, at some point, when are we gonna stand up for our own cause where we're paying taxes? And if that's DNR, that's fine, or maybe we gotta fire them and take it ourselves and implement it. I don't know. There again, frustration speaking loudly. So, I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Joe, and we'll
Thanks,
be in
Joe.
touch with you on
Okay,
this.
thank you.
Just made me think, I don't even know if the city has anything to verify that we have garbage service, because there's private garbage service in
No.
Marshalltown.
I-
You know, like in my small town life in Baxter, we knew everybody had garbage service because if you had a house, you had to have city water and your garbage fee came through your water bill. So we knew everybody had paid garbage service, but I don't think that exists in Marshalltown. They were talking about having basically a city vendor at some point, but,
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't believe it does, but,
so if I wanted to just put my garbage in my truck and go to the landfill once every 2 weeks, I could do that in Marshalltown. Save some money.
did you have something else you want to say?
You want to get this meeting over with, don't you?
No, I'm just,
I wanted to talk to the board about low water stream crossings. Can I get the aerial of just north of Liscum? There's a bridge that we have closed. I've been talking with Taylor Roll, the Hardin County engineer, and we have a bridge closed on the county line just north of Liscum. And our initial thought was just leave it closed, and it has 10 to 15 vehicles a day, which is lower than we need for the threshold to use our state bridge funds on. We have to have 25 vehicles a day.
what road is it on?
It's on 100th Street.
Okay.
Right there. That's
Yeah.
the bridge right there.
Oh,
And it's currently closed. It's a pony truss, which means it's one of those trusses where the truss sides are kind of low on it, but it's still a truss.
would you back out a little bit, James? Thank you.
And I got an email from Mackaman Farms, and that sounds like they own it, and the tenant is a Smith. David Smith, I think, is the tenant. And they were saying this bridge being closed really hampers their ability to rent the land because it changes the value of it if it's not as usable if they don't have access across there. And Taylor told me that they have several locations in Hardin County where they use low water stream crossing. And I have historically avoided those because they're, I only know of one around here, and it's down on the Jasper County line, but it is on the Marshall-Jasper County line. And it's, in my opinion, an attractive nuisance. It's a place where, high school kids hang out and drink beer and shoot off fireworks. And I don't need to tell you why I know that. But
That's where you grew up.
I graduated from Baxter High, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but this one, if we did a low water stream crossing, it would be much less costly than putting in a big twin box culvert. It's a good sized drainage area. The low water stream crossing, I assume you're all familiar with what they are, but you put the road kind of goes down and there's pipes underneath it. So like in low flow situations, you're still driving on a dry pavement or a dry structure, but it's much cheaper than a culvert or a bridge. And I just wanted to bring that up in case you guys are like, we don't want anything to do with you doing low water stream crossings. And I know there's not supposed to be any action at this right now, but I don't want to pursue it if you guys are going to tell me that you don't want that on our system. Can you zoom in to the one on Jasper County line? Because we could look at that one actually and just kind of see what I'm talking about. That might help. My concern is that this is level A rock and it's on a straight line grade. So I need to come up, we'd have to sign it in such a way that, you know, Joe Moron doesn't hit it at 60 miles an hour because he's dead. I mean, that's just, you know.
Sounds fun.
Can you walk me to the Jasper one?
Yeah, if you go to the harvester, you know, we may not even be able to see it. Can you do Google Earth on that thing? Because even though it's on the county line, it may be physically in Jasper County right there on that road. That is the county line road, 340th Street. Far southwest corner of the county.
We're in Jasper now.
Okay. Trying to read the. You didn't go to Google Earth though, did you?
I figured Jasper might have better area.
Okay. I hate the Jasper's street names. Because 340th Street is North 115th Avenue West. Go back to the, okay.
Give up on that and go with this.
If you go to the harvester and go to the south end of the harvester. Okay, so go, there's the Missouri crossing. It's even marked there. It's such an attractive nuisance.
That's really fun area.
But you can see the geometry of the road there. There's no way to hit that at 60 miles an hour because you'd be off the road before you got to it. But but if you zoom in on it, you can kind of see what it looks like as far as it's well, maybe not. It's concrete and there's several tubes that go under there that are, you know, big enough that somebody who isn't that bright can go through the tubes when there's water flowing. And I never did that. Never. Oh.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
There you can kind of see it. This one's a little bit bigger waterway. This is probably going to be more extravagant than we would build up there as far as the concrete, you know, the amount of concrete and culvert, you know, it's going through there. Do you want me to, can I go ahead and talk to Taylor about options and see what it might cost to do this? Because it's going to cost less than a quarter of what we're going to spend on a culvert.
So they need to get like pickup trucks,
It'd
farm
be-
equipment.
Yeah, that and moving cattle.
Livestock
and
trailer,
moving-
yeah.
Because they rent on both sides of the bridge. And then there is a state signing standard on how they're properly signed, and we would lower the speed limit approaching it to say 35 miles an hour, and have, you know, probably 3 warning signs on each side of the bridge. Yeah, there's a nice little picture.
There it is. It's cool.
And
In the summer, it's fun.
it's low enough that if there's a high water and you've got debris, the debris usually goes right over the bridge. There's a couple times where you have to go get some things out of the, you know, get some deadfall out of the culvert.
Yeah. I would say yes.
Okay, that we can go ahead and pursue that.
Yeah.
Because it's, the contact that I had from the landowner and that is the Mackaman, they actually said they would be okay with that as an option if they're just some option other than closed is what they
Yeah.
were looking for.
You just need to be able to get across it.
And there's several bridges in Marshall County that we might have this conversation on because they're just, there's no traffic. 10 vehicles a day, can I afford to spend $800,000 on a bridge? You know, so it's, especially if it's not, you know, 10 vehicles a day that goes to someone's house, that's a different deal because they, you know. That's the only way they can get there.
So any large farm equipment could get across here, like a combine?
Even better than right now, because right now it's a 16-foot wide pony truss.
Yeah.
So, or maybe it's 18, but it's
Yeah.
still, it's geometrically obsolete for
Yeah.
implements of husbandry anyway.
Yeah.
So that would actually improve. But-
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Makes
That's all I
sense.
need.
Thanks, Paul.
Anything else for public forum? I do have something. We had a request actually from Primary Healthcare, from their Homeless Support Program Manager, Amanda Sutton, to do a letter of support for a grant application that they are applying for. It's called the Tenant-Based Rental Assistance Program, funded through the Iowa Finance Authority. And Primary Healthcare out of Polk County has been serving homeless persons with support services. And if they were successful in getting this grant, they would be able to expand services to Marshall and Tama County. So they're asking for a letter of support from Marshall County and from the Board of Supervisors. So I don't see any reason not to support this, but this is for information right now, that the request has been made, and I don't know if you guys have any questions or comments on it.
No, not this time.
No, neither do I.
Okay. Okay. Anything else for the good of the cause? If not, we'll adjourn, move on to adjournment. The next regular session is May 7th at 9 a.m. at the courthouse on the first floor, here in the first floor meeting room. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the county auditor recorder's office or Board of Supervisors office by Wednesday, April 30th at noon. There being no further business to come before the meeting, we are adjourned at 9:58.
There's a different setup this